Let's go. Yeah. For those of you
Voted #1 news station since the 1800s, it's the Revolutional newscast, live from Virginia. Hello, Nice Vincent reporting live in Virginia with the Revolutional News. Let's get right into it with Sarah Bishop at the 1765
Good morning, Nice. There's a new king in Great Britain, and his name is King George III, who inherited the throne from his grandfather. King George III is trying to lower the national debt by bringing in a financial expert, George Grenville, to serve as Prime Minister. Also, merchants in New York, Boston, and Philadelphia are boycotting on British goods until the Stamp Act is removed. Stamp Act is tax on documents, printed items such as wills, newspapers, and playing cards.
Really? I didn't hear it.
Thank you, Sarah, for that very riveting news story. Next, we have Amanda with the 1765 news.
Thank you, Nice. In 1773, the Tea Act was passed, allowing British East India Company to sell tea to colonies without paying taxes, while colonial merchants still had to pay them. Even though this made the company's tea a lot cheaper, colonists protested dramatically against the Tea Act. One evening in December of 1773, a group of Boston rebels took action against the 3 British ships in the Boston harbor. They disguised themselves as Native Americans and dumped 18,000 pounds of tea into the waters of the Boston harbor. After the famous Lexington and Concord battle, in May of 1775, colonial leaders called the Second Continental Congress to figure out what they were going to do next. Eventually, they agreed to recognize the colonial military as the Continental Army, with George Washington appointed as its commander. During the summer of 1776, the Continental Congress had had enough and finally decided to urge each colony to make their own government. Congress appointed a committee to prepare the final draft of the Declaration of Independence, with Thomas Jefferson chosen to prepare the final draft. On the 4th of July, delegates declared their freedom from Britain and adopted the Declaration of Independence.
Wow! Oh, time for the 1785 news with Adrian.
Breaking news! The British have surrendered at Yorktown. The armies of Lafayette and Washington found out about Cornwallis' actions and moved south to Yorktown. The French naval fleet defeated the British and were able to block them off at the Chesapeake Bay. At late September, 17,000 American and French troops surrounded the British, and less than a month later, Cornwallis surrendered. In January of 1787, Daniel Shays, a farmer, led 1,200 farmers toward the arsenal at Springfield. State officials called over the militia to halt the farmers, and that ended with 4 farmers dead. This caused panic and dismay, and the farmers called it Shays' Rebellion.
So why are you guys rebelling?
Because the government's foreclosing our farms.
We're people too. We want change.
As expected, news of this rebellion is being spread throughout the states. Word on the streets is the states are planning on getting together for a convention.
Up next, we have Giovanni with a story on our very first president.
George Washington, he was elected by unanimous choice in the first presidential election, and also he was also elected by by defeating the British in the American Revolution, and it was felt that he was right man for being a leader. And the only reason also why he got elected is that the people in the country liked him very much, and one thing they did was that they named the state Washington after his name because he was such a great leader. And then a few years later, after he got reelected again by the unanimous vote of the electoral college. And the stuff that he did to help America, he helped shape the office's future role and powers, as well as set both formal and informal precedents for future presidents. He was also the first president of the U.S. He led the American colonials against the British in the Revolutionary War, which helped us win and all that. And yeah, that's pretty much it about it.
When the rain is blowing in
for the joke of the day, viewers. Hey, why is George Washington so clean? Because he's George Washington. Get it? Wash a ton? Well, I thought it was funny. Thanks for tuning in, viewers. It's been a blast in the past. See you in the future. Up next is 2.5 Men and AMC's Breaking Bad.